Hello, hello, and welcome back to the 5 Foot Strong podcast. I am your host, Jessica Gerlock, and today's episode, we're calling it Strong Doesn't Mean Silent. And if you've ever been labeled the strong one, this conversation's for you. Somewhere along the way, many of us learned that being strong meant handling everything quietly. It meant not complaining, not saying boo, not asking for anything, not needing anything. Strength became synonymous with independence, resilience, grit. Carry it, manage it, kind of move on, and forget about it. And while those qualities can be powerful, they can also become a cage for you. Because when strength turns into silence, we stop letting ourselves be human. We're praised for how much we can actually handle, how composed we look, how little we ask for. But no one really talks about the cost of that. The loneliness, the emotional weight that takes, the way it shows up in our bodies as tension, fatigue, burnout, anxiety, things we just can't even explain sometimes. We convince ourselves that if we just push a little harder, stay quieter a little longer, we'll earn rest or understanding or relief. But silence doesn't actually make us stronger. It just makes us kind of, invisible. And I want to be very clear about something. Speaking up doesn't mean falling apart either. Vulnerability doesn't mean oversharing and giving too much. And asking for help doesn't cancel out everything you've survived. It doesn't erase your resilience. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't, if anything, it requires a different kind of strength. The kind that says, I don't have to carry this alone. The kind that says it's okay to ask for help. This season of the 5 Foot Strong podcast, we're talking about all about honesty. We talked about that in the last episode. Honesty with yourselves. Honest conversations about mental health, physical health, and the space where it all intersects. And today we're going to talk about what it really means to be strong. Not as something you perform for others, but as something you practice just for yourself. And if you're listening to this episode and realizing you've been quiet for a while, or you haven't asked for help if you need it, if you've been strong in ways no one sees, this is for you. You are allowed to speak. You're allowed to have a voice. You are allowed to need help. And you're allowed to take up space no matter who you are. So I want to get into it all in this episode. The way I want to leave this world is someone remembered for using my voice in a positive light. I don't mean screaming at someone, but I mean empowering people, inspiring. There's ways to use your voice that make you stronger. So, where did we learn in life that being strong means handling everything alone? Did we learn it from our family, our culture, sometimes fitness or hustle culture? That silence equals strength, and how that belief has shown up in our lives. Why do we think that? As a woman, we live in a man's world. And as much as we try, we're still, and even in 2026, there is still a hierarchy. And I feel it sometimes. I'm in a male dominated industry. Some people don't take me as seriously as, 6 foot men who are jacked. That's okay. Sometimes people's families tell them, push everything under the rug and just don't speak and everything will be okay. But that doesn't mean being strong. Being strong means saying what you need to say, taking accountability, putting in the hard work, using a voice, but with a knowledge of life. The idea of being silent, to me, equals weakness. If you're going to hide in the corner and not say anything or not do anything, that's not a sign of strength. And what happens to our bodies when we don't speak what we're carrying inside? I know I personally, when I was depressed, I had so many physical symptoms that it came out later. That idea of the connection between unexpressed emotions and physical tension or a burnout injury, chronic stress. Even coming from a trainer's perspective, I see it all the time. People hold stress physically in ways that might not be clear at first, but, stepping back time and taking time away, there usually is a correlation. If you have a lot of stress, sometimes you carry it in not eating, binge eating. You can carry it in not sleeping. All those things make a difference on the way our body reacts. And that is all caused by that unexpressed emotions that we haven't dealt with. And it happens in, burnout if you don't ask for help. We've talked about that earlier. I think that was last episode. I see it a lot, and I want people to be mindful of it. It's important to realize that mind-body connection. It's important to realize that if you have a pain or your stomach's a little wonky, well, is that because of stress? Is that you have to put stress as a factor in maybe why a symptom is showing the way it is. Sometimes that's what makes sense. Sometimes it could be something totally else, but it is important to keep stress as a factor of factors of way your body's being affected and how stress is contributing to that. What I said before about asking for help. Asking for help, can the idea of asking for help in any sense actually be a form of strength? 100%. It's important to speak up. It's important to set boundaries for yourself. It's important to admit you aren't okay. And that whole mindset will change your mental and physical well-being. I remember when I was not well, when I was a teenager, if I didn't accept help from my family, from my friends, from medical doctors, there's no way I would have been here today. I had to realize I couldn't do this myself. And as it's somebody who is quite independent and I do like doing a lot of things myself, I realize that it's gives me more strength and makes me stronger that I even could ask for help. That's vulnerability. That's a strength. So I've learned that my strengths are my voice. My strengths are, if something doesn't bring you joy into your life or it ruins your energy or your vibe, it's important to set boundaries. My happiness and my health are the most important. And if I need to set boundaries physically or, sometimes invisible boundaries, that's okay. That's strength. That's a strength. To know when to set a boundary and to set healthy boundaries. That's a strength. So identifying it could be somebody who drains your energy in your life or somebody who is a negative impact with substances or even with food that they're trying to bring you down in any way. You can set boundaries to say, this is not going to affect me in a positive way. I gotta put myself first. And that's the whole idea is of putting yourself first and knowing that your health and your happiness is your own priorities. And it should be a priority. A lot of people don't put it as a priority. But if you do, then positivity will come out of that. Your actions, you need to be accountable for. And you need to be proud of your actions. And if speaking up when you see something wrong or if somebody's making you feel in a not good way, say something. It's not a bad thing. You'll end up on the right side. If somebody's making you, if you're around bad substances, set a boundary. Say you don't want to be around that anymore. Admitting that you are not okay and asking for help is the strongest thing you can do. Don't think you need to do it alone. Even if it's in the little sense of hiring a trainer to keep you accountable into your workouts. Don't think that you need to do it alone. It is okay to lean on something so that you can achieve whatever goals you are trying to achieve. That is strength. Nobody benefits when we stay silent. Silence can protect others at the expense of ourselves, and we need to again prioritize ourselves over others. Breaking the silence can be uncomfortable, but very necessary for healing and moving forward in whatever journey you're trying to do. What does using your voice look like in every day? It means speaking up to what you believe in, whether in relationships, whether in workouts, whether in work environments, and whether even with themselves. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to be confrontational. But you can express your way in a respectful way to others, to put those boundaries up, to know that you are in a healthy mindset, healthy and happy physically and mentally. That's okay. Just know your voice is a powerful thing. Using your voice is a strength. If something is negative in your life or bringing you down, it is okay to use your voice. Staying silent won't help anybody. And again, doing the right thing, leading with your heart is, the most important thing in any action you can do. Love yourself and prioritize your mental and physical health because that's a strength. Noticing you have an issue, whether it be with your mental or physical health, that's a strength. Taking accountability, that's a strength. Making action or even one step, a positive step in the right direction, that's a strength. So whatever you do for yourself, just realize you want to prioritize yourself, your mental and your physical health, because that makes you stronger at the end of the day. And when you're stronger, you are happier, you are healthier, you can be there for others, you can lead with a different mindset that you might not have before. This podcast is called 5 Foot Strong because strength can be emotional, it could be physical, it could be show itself in so many different ways. But the idea is that it's a positive or a negative. It's either a strength or a weakness. And if it lifts you up in your life and it makes you in a better spot and it makes you grow as a person, then it's a strength. And if it brings you down and it doesn't impact your life in a positive way, well, that's a weakness. And we want to stay away from those. And we want to be stronger and stronger. And then the world is limitless and you are unstoppable when you realize that you are stronger than you think you are. And you have to believe in yourself and have confidence as well. And resilience builds that. So before we close today, I want to leave you with this. If you spent most of your life being the strong one, it can feel unfamiliar or even unsafe to speak up. Silence starts to become like a bad habit. It becomes like a reflex. You don't even notice it anymore. You minimize it. You say you're fine. You tell yourself it's not that bad. And you convince yourself that needing less somehow makes you more worthy. But strength was never meant to be a solo act. Real strength, as we've talked about, is about honesty. It's about being responsive. It knows when to pause, when to ask, when to let someone else carry part of the weight it's taking on you. And that doesn't erase who you are. It expands you. It makes you stronger. You don't need to explain your pain for it to be valid. You don't need to package your truth neatly for it to be acceptable. And you don't need to wait until you're breaking down to get support. If this episode resonated with you in any way, I hope you take one small step this week towards being a little less silent. That's a strength. Realize that you are stronger. Or simply admitting to yourself that you don't need to do everything alone. And again, asking for help is a strength, whether it has to do with your mental or your physical health. And if you're not ready to do that yet, that's okay too. Being aware or simple awareness is still movement in the right direction. Honesty can just start quietly. But remember this, you don't lose strength when you speak up. You lose it when you disappear into the silence. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for choosing yourself in this moment. If this episode spoke to you in any way, please share it with someone who might need it. And as always, take care of your mind, your body, and don't forget, realize how strong you really are. Remember, whether you are 5 feet tall like myself or 7 feet tall, we are all strong in our own unique and beautiful ways. Have a fantastic day today, and please stay strong.